Welcome, everybody, to Let's Talk, the Todd Worsham Show. Today we have a guest, Mr. Robert Olson, and today we're going to be discussing geoengineering. What is geoengineering? Well, geoengineering is basically the conspiracy of chemtrails and weather manipulation, and it actually blooms off into a lot of different avenues and different things that are happening on the planet today. So, all right. Well, welcome, Robert. How you doing today?
Todd, thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. So, you and I, we do a lot of talking. We converse a lot, and we send each other videos and information, stuff like that. And you sent me a link from Brighteon about geoengineering. I opened it up and I went down the rabbit hole. And I just want to get your thoughts on that. And what do you think's really going on? I mean, what's your thoughts on the geoengineering situation, the weather manipulation?
Almost every time we have strange weather, I'm always thinking, well, there's that technology being used again, because I've been hearing about it for decades now. And then you got the reports all the time for strange snowstorms, droughts happening, tornadoes happening, and I'm almost to the point where I don't think any of it's natural anymore. I believe that them powers that ought not be are making stuff happen for whatever ulterior motive they have.
So I'm kind of agreeing with that now. I did some research today, and I'm kind of going to jump on that side, but everyone knows, okay, people out there, they don't know this, but you and I are both in aviation. And being in aviation, we know the difference between a contrail and a non-contrail, correct?
Correct. I mean, the most of the time when they're just the exhaust from an airplane, it dissipates in a very very low amount of time, and when it's something else, it stays there for a long time.
So I don't know if you've noticed.
They're at different. They're also at different altitudes too. Most of the time, where standard flights are at, versus when this chemtrails are going on.
So you're saying the chemtrails are at a higher elevation?
I don't know which, but I've been told several times that when you see them, try to determine what the altitude is, and then watch other airplanes and see what level they're flying at, above it or below it. And that's so basically you could look at the sky and see two different airplanes flying, one leaving chemtrails and one leaving contrails, and one dissipates, one stays.
Right. So I know here in Arizona, especially I would say in the last couple of years, I've noticed almost every morning I wake up, as soon as the sun comes up, you can see all these lines just crisscrossing the sky. And as you watch them through the morning, they dissipate, and then you get it like a haze over the whole valley. And I actually had I'm on this app. I think it's called Nextdoor or something like that. It's an app around the country where people in neighborhoods, they come together, and they talk about things that are happening in their neighborhood. But one of the person on there opined on there the other day with a picture. And the picture he showed was just like what I've been explaining to everybody, because everybody thinks I'm a conspiracy freak about this. But being in aviation, I know a contrail, and you're exactly right. They last like 90 seconds. And according to the definition on Google, they're no bigger than a football field. So I agree with that. So what do you think that their goal is with this? Why do you think they're doing this?
Well, Geoengineering Watch kind of touches base on that, but before I ever heard of him, I heard other people. There's to mess up the soil, to mess up our water, to keep us sick, to mess up the air. The whole thing seems to be to pretty much manipulate the weather and make people's lives miserable. Um, you got all kinds of, you got people with getting cancers. You got people actually testing the soil and testing the water after these chemtrails and finding all kinds of strange things. There's so much evidence now. A couple of states are trying to make the whole thing against the law, which begs the question: why was it ever allowed to happen in the first place?
Exactly. So that's a good statement you just made, because in the research I did today, this guy that was on Brighteon, Dane Willington, he's an advocating for for all this to get released, all get out in the open. And according to his research, he has scientists that are stating the exact same thing that you're just saying. They've proven that the soil is becoming sterile. So actually, after these happen, there's no vitamins and minerals in the soil anymore. So when we grow plants, we're basically getting foods. That's if we can even get foods. But if we get plants that grow out of it, they're not going to provide us with our basic vitamins and minerals that we need to sustain our life. And if we can't do that, then we can't feed the cows, the chickens. It kind of destroys the whole food chain for us.
Yeah, we only got one planet, and we're not wise enough to travel the universe yet. So I don't know why these people are trying to destroy the planet. I believe I believe ultimately it's because they want to put themselves in the position of power, and they want to knock the population down, because they're finding they're considering a lot of the populations worthless eaters now.
I'm gonna.
So, I mean, this goes down a rabbit hole into all kinds of other things. I mean, there was a book written a long time ago. It was called Empty Harvest. It was already talking about the soil being depleted and the food we eat not having no nutritional value, just because the way the corporate farmers are farming and not replenishing the soil with the nutrients it needs. So now you add on top of that, uh, you know, deliberate manipulation of the weather in the air, which all that falls down on the soil.
So, and the other thing in the article that I thought was extremely eye-opening was, according to Dane Willington's research, he's stating that almost 70 to 80% of the plankton in certain areas of the oceans are gone. They're completely gone. And I don't know if most people know this, but most of our oxygen that we get, that we need, doesn't come from, the trees in Brazil. It comes from the oceans. It comes from, plant life and plankton life and stuff like that comes out of the ocean. So if we start killing our oceans, what do you think that's going to do to the rest of us?
Exactly. It's gonna bring mankind's population down, and not only that, it's gonna deplete the fauna, the flora, all the animals, sea creatures, plants. It's gonna affect the whole doggone planet.
Yeah, the whole
And
ecosystems.
they're already, I'm sorry, they're
The whole
already chopping down all the trees, and deforestation and chopping down the trees, and they're not. The trees ain't coming back as fast enough. You see all these buildings, but all these farmlands turning into solar farms, and then all these forests being cut down for urban development. Where they gonna do the farming at?
So that's where things get kind of confusing, because if they're trying to genocide us, why are they letting us cut down trees and build more houses? I'm just playing devil's advocate. I mean, it's just I actually agree with what you're saying, because the information that
they're building the houses just because they're greedy. There's lots of money, just like they make all these cars that they end up not being able to sell, and they got all these buildings that end up just being vacant. They get these grants and they get this funding, and somebody's making some big bank while this is going on. Doesn't mean they're going to be utilized.
So basically, global money laundering.
Essentially.
So they're basically taking all the money from the middle class and funneling it up to all the elites. So I still haven't figured out why they're doing all this. I don't understand the reasoning, but I do know they've been doing this since World War II. And I did read some articles about Vietnam. During the Vietnam War, they actually seeded the clouds to produce rain to flood out the Ho Chi Minh Trail, so they could get the Viet Cong out of the ground, so they could kill them. So this has been going on for a long time. I mean, a very long time.
Oh yeah, they've been working on every time some new technology comes in that's good for society, they end up weaponizing it.
Yeah,
and using it for war and destroying people or things,
yeah. We need more. We need more Elon Musks instead of Bill Gates, right?
Well, Elon Musk is an entrepreneur, and he's got some things about him that's questionable too. But at least he does seem to have a conscience and an open to trying to be a player for humanity.
That's
He
what I
might
get
he
from
might
him.
get off track sometime or not realizing that he's maybe he does, but doesn't realize he's really. I mean, look at the satellites. Anything he makes and designs and builds, the powers to be are going to use it one way, and they're going to weaponize it one way or the other.
So I was also reading an article on there about God, I don't remember what hurricane it was. Damn it, I didn't write it down.
Katrina?
Yeah, huh?
I think it was Katrina or Andrews or
No, it was just recently, within the last year, I think it was. So I think it started with an N, but I can't remember the name. But
yeah,
anyway,
when they've done when those hurricanes were happening, I'm going like it's pretty knowledgeable now that they can guide hurricanes.
yes,
I'm
starting to learn that.
And they got the hurricane flight crew that they go right in the middle of a hurricane. So they even got movies they made about it. So it shouldn't be a shock to anybody that they're weaponizing weather changing technology to do harm instead of good.
So like this cold was called the Arctic blast that they were talking about on the news just recently, that just hit where the cold came all the way down North America, the top of the country, all the way down to I believe it came all the way down to Houston. We're talking about sub-zero temperatures in Texas, and what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it was Geo Engineering and a couple other organizations out there knew that was coming ahead of time. They was saying,
Yep.
here's what's happening because the forecasting and everything. And finally, that week that it was happening, finally it's on mainstream media.
So if I'm understanding everything I'm reading and watching, I saw that NOAA, was it North, the Oceanic, I forget what it stands for, but it's those planes that you're talking about that fly through the hurricanes and all that, right? Because I actually worked on one of their planes at Evergreen way back in the day, DC-8. At any rate,
yeah, that's interesting. You said that there used to be a billboard here at Marina for when Evergreen was here, and it said the original place of weather research and development.
Yeah, because we worked on we worked on an old DC-8, and I remember talking to the pilots, and he told me they used to get so low to the water that sometimes they would suck it in the inlet. Like they come in and a swell would come up, and the swell would actually go right into the intake of the motor. And I'm like, it didn't shut it off, and he just looked at me. He says, "I'm not saying anything." I remember that plane very well. In fact, well, we're getting off subject, but at any rate, NOAA is a government agency, and they're doing all this kind of weather stuff. But I was reading an article today where it said that NOAA was telling the weather channels how to predict and what to put out on the, what to put out there.
Right. Telling them what to say and not say.
Yeah, they're telling them. Yeah, they were telling them how to manipulate the news channels and all that kind of stuff. Which I believe that. So another thing I learned today too was along with the Arctic blast, when they during the manipulation of that, when it sent all the cold down from the Arctic, it actually raised the temperature in the Arctic 35 degrees above normal temperatures. So actually, what this weather manipulation is causing, like, you know how you see on TV all these they're talking about all these glaciers breaking off, and the Arctic is melting faster than it should be, and all that kind of stuff. Well, according to all this research, it's a byproduct of all this.
NOAA is National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
Yeah, okay. I knew it was something like that. but yeah, they're admitting. Well, they're not admitting to it, but on the article I read this morning, it basically said that while pushing all the Arctic down through the states, and basically when they do that, here's another thing that I don't think we've talked about yet. When they do that, it changes the freezing point for our food, because like certain trees like citrus like orange trees and lemon trees and stuff like that, they require, I didn't know this, but they require a freezing point so they can shut down and they can grab more minerals. It's kind of like their sleeping time. So it shuts them off for a while so they can reboot. And this whole weather manipulation is throwing off their for lack of a better term, their sleep cadence, their rhythm.
Yeah, like Farmer's Almanac, and even when you buy seeds, they tell you where to grow and at, what seasons are here, but that's based on history. But if you're manipulating the weather, you're throwing your plant seasons all off kilter, you know.
And the plants, I guess from where I read, if they don't get that certain freeze temperature for a certain amount of time, then they'll stop producing, if not die. So it's very crazy this is happening. And the map I saw today, it showed it coming all the way down through Texas, all through the whole bit, all through the what they call it, the breadbasket of our country, the largest part of our country where we produce most of our foods. So that's pretty scary. I mean, that kind of goes back to the genociding kind of thing that we were talking about.
Well, if the powers to be figure a certain part of part of a country or a part of the planet or a region of any location is not doing what they want, they take that weather technology and go cause chaos. I mean, it's kind of like what you see in the movies and stuff now. It's like it's not just Hollywood; it's
reality.
Factual now.
Yeah, and it's I got my eyes woke up today. I just couldn't believe all the stuff I was reading. It was just blowing me away. I kind of joke about chemtrails, and I get into kind of little, debates with people and stuff like that. But I had never really dove into it and really checked, things out, because I had no idea it was on this grandest scale, this large. I didn't realize it was affecting this much of the population.
Yeah, I forget exactly what chemicals and stuff they're picking up, but after those chemtrails, there's people go out and collect this stuff and send it to labs, and it's not good for the human body. The products they're finding, I've seen it too, where it snowed and they take out a torch to it and it doesn't melt.
Okay, so I think I got that figured out. It's good that you said that. On the article I was reading today, it said one of the products that they're putting in there, it's like a soapy material, and that's what causes the water to freeze at an abnormal temperature. So it makes it like freeze quicker, and then what's happening is it's changing the structure of snow. So where it used to be like, when it came down, everybody knew how to drive, on this certain surface. But this chemical that's added to this is like a soapy material.
Yeah, so people that have winter weather driving experience all of a sudden act like they had never driven in that stuff before. It's so
That's
slippery and slick. It's like
that's
black
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 ice.
ice, you know.
That's exactly what's happening, and they have all kinds of reports on there proving that the winter accidents are up by like 60% because the snow has changed. You know, the ice has changed.
And so look at vehicle insurance rates going across the country. It's going outrageous. And just a day or two ago on the news, there was a big car pile up somewhere.
There's always one somewhere. I'm just joking.
No, I mean a big one from the snow. Normally, people in ice and snow states, they're used to, they know how to drive in that kind of weather.
Correct.
But not when you're changing the consistency of what they're used to dealing with.
So I think, because I've seen that, I know exactly what you're talking about, because I've seen that on Facebook where people they go out in their backyard, they grab a piece of snow and they pack it up, and then they take a lighter and they light it up, and you can see the snow burning, and you're like going, what the fuck? And at first I thought, that's bullshit. People are putting gas in it, but then gas would melt it. So I don't know. I just thought it was I thought it was crap. But now that I'm reading all this research, doing all this research and reading all these articles and everything, it's real. So the chemicals that are put in there is changing the structure of our snow. So where does all that go? I mean, think about it. It all goes where? It goes in the ground.
Well, I mean, our planet is natural. I mean, normally our planet is designed where it can filter and recycle the water for mankind. But when they're deliberately toxifying it, that's really hindering the process.
Well, yeah. Then, like you said, it's just going to kill off animals. It's going to kill off. You just can't sustain life after a while. So I don't know what
that gets into other topics then, because the super elite are building themselves bunkers and all kinds of SH shit hits the fan type stuff. So they probably think they have solutions for what they're throwing on society to wipe them out.
I did see that. God, I can't remember his name. Was it somebody built one on Hawaii? Was it Leonardo DiCaprio or somebody? I can't remember, but I saw it on Facebook really quick, or on some social media. I saw that on, I don't know, it might have been on my Apple News or some crap, but which I don't really pay attention to Apple News. I mean, that's about as legit as CNN. So that's pretty funny, but at any rate, so I don't know what I'm going to do about this. I mean, I feel like I need to do something. So I don't know. I was thinking about even buying some flyers from that geoengineeringwatch.org and maybe passing out some flyers. And I think we just need to get people to understand that this is not a conspiracy. This is actually happening. We have scientific proof. And we can.
It's happening. Yeah, it's happening at such a fast pace that we're behind the power curve of doing anything about it. It needs a whole lot more awareness so we can put a stop to it. Period.
Well, and that's another thing that Dane was talking about. He was saying that this situation is not linear; it's exponential, and that's a problem, because instead of slowly going up, it's jumping, it's multiplying. So if the problem was 10% yesterday, it's 100% tomorrow. So it's growing exponentially and not like in a linear line going across the bar. It's like going from the bottom of the bar to the top of the bar to where you need to get a new bar. It's jumping so fast. Now I don't know if I'm not going to spat his predictions, because I'm not going to get behind that. But if even half of what he's saying is true, we're in a world of shit pretty soon. I mean,
Well, the powers
And
that be that are the powers that be that feel like they need to use it right now or weaponize. They're thinking of immediate results for whatever their plans are, but the long term ramifications, they're not thinking about that part.
I agree with you. I don't think I really, and it seems like they never do. Well, with any of these conspiracies, so-called conspiracies that we talk about, it seems like they never think about the long term. Well, I don't want to. I don't want to go down this road right now, but I'll just use an example like the COVID vaccine. Well, let's not talk about the vaccine. Let's talk about mRNAs. That's what the Pfizer COVID vaccine is, mRNA, a messaging RNA. Well, all the research I did on that says that we don't even have the technology yet, or we don't even know what the long-term effects of that are on the human body. We have no idea. So that's just another example of what you're talking about, where we're manipulating things.
That's not exactly true either, because they've been testing that for decades.
Yeah, well, they still don't know because mRNAs have been advancing and changing, and right now they're at a level that they don't know what the outcomes are. They just don't, because they're so advanced. And you're right. They've been doing the research for years. I agree with that. And the same thing with this with the Geo Engineering. I mean, we've been doing this at least since World War II, and I think you and I were talking about this earlier off the program, and you were stating something about like they started this in the 20s, or was it like World War I kind of era, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, every time somebody some good intended person comes up with a good idea that can help society, the evil powers to be, they grab it and weaponize it and use it for bad instead of good. So it's I think finally over the last couple of years, I think the masters are waking up, but they need to wake up a whole lot faster and know a whole lot more of what's going on.
You there?
Yeah.
We had a bad connection there for a second.
Yeah.
I don't think your internet where you're at is very good. So, but anyway, no, I agree with that. And I just hate to sound like a conspiracy freak. I just like to look at things in a common sense view. And I think you do the same thing as I do. I think that's why we're such good friends, because we're not so much like looking at things as a conspiracy, but we're looking at things like in a common sense view. And, are these things happening? Yes or no? You got to look at things. What's causing it? Why are they doing it? Is it real? Is it not real? But the chemtrails I've known for a long time are real. I just didn't grasp the severity of it all.
Yep. I mean, that's sad. I mean, like I said, I've known about it for a while, but it's really gotten they've really stepped up their game lately for some reason. I mean, I can speculate why, but
Yep.
awesome.
All right, Robert. Well, I want to thank you for joining my show today. And as always, you're a plethora of information, and always a pleasure to talk to. And I hope you'll be joining us again. We can talk about some other conspiracy theories. And I'd like to get into the Billy Meyer stuff with you. I'd really like to do that, but I know that's going to be more than one episode. That's going to be something that we're going to have to do a continuation on, talk about it on probably several episodes. So if you're down with that, I'll get with you, and hopefully we can start some Billy Meyer stuff, because I don't think most people even know who Billy Meyer is, and I think it's something that needs to get put out there and something that people really need to learn about. All right, Robert, I appreciate you, and we'll talk to you later. Have a good night.
All right, good night.